am Zanzibar, and welcome to the first and only actually live from G-Fest vlog here in the hotel at the Crown Plaza, Chicago O'Hare.
I believe we intended to do more, but...
well, the plan was to do them daily, but, and we have photos and stuff coming from the con, but
yeah.
It's just, there's a lot to do. And what we found that we didn't expect to do was talk a lot to people off recording that we should have recorded.
We met everybody.
Yeah. We met everybody.
Frank
Matt,
Sornow, Biggie and Quatch.
Biggie and Quatch.
For those of you who don't know, it's Larry Quatch and James Biggie. James Biggie did a lot of artwork for the indie comic Robot God Akumatsu.
Yeah. See,
he also kind of, he said it was a kind of sort of pitch
of Jet Jaguar, an agent of Zootopia.
Yeah, that thing.
And Larry Quatch, he's done a lot of beautiful paintings.
I wish I could
pull out your Biggie fucking.
I wish I could.
Your Biggie print.
Oh, we already.
No, that's your Quatch print.
That's the Quatch.
I want Biggie.
Yeah,
show him Biggie. Show him Biggie.
This is Quatch. This is Larry Quatch. And I'm sure you.
I wish I could remember this guy's DeviantArt username because I follow this motherfucker.
Here's the thing. Even if you don't know the name, which we didn't, I'm sure you've seen Larry's work around.
Yeah.
And have had varying reactions to it.
Here we go.
In a few minutes, we're going to.
Wait. Oh, this is Biggie. This is Biggie.
Hold it more towards the center. Okay. This is Biggie's work. This is awesome, and I shared this on my timeline.
In a few minutes, we're going to go in more depth about all the stuff we bought, and then we're going to
go
bring
more
the camera in and
where did Biggie
see
send
this
this?
Really good. Down at the bottom.
Oh, there you go. MB 2014.
Yeah.
So this is Biggie and Quatch, as they've come to be known to us.
Yes.
And we pitched the idea to Biggie, James Biggie, of a supernatural detective 70s crime show.
I'm writing
Biggie and Quatch.
I'm called Biggie and Quatch.
I've got plans now.
And Biggie liked it. We didn't share it with.
Quatch was busy. Quatch was
very busy. This is his first G-Fest, like us, and he was under the impression that everybody hated his work.
No,
and he's been fucking selling out.
No. Yeah, his stuff has been very popular. People were asking him to do original prints, and he's very, very, very candid. And we will probably at some point have him on
the show,
either DFOS or just the normal podcast. I really want to get him and Biggie on at the same time.
Out of all the people we've met over the past 2 days, him and Eggleton stand out as just the two nicest human beings you've ever met.
Incredibly humble.
And Maori.
Jesus Christ, we had like a 30-minute conversation with.
All right, hang on.
Okay,
let's go in order. Let's go in order. So since this is the only one we're going to do, I think we have a lot to cover.
Quatch was the first one we met when we came into Artist Alley.
Well, hang on. So what happened was we got here Thursday night around 8 o'clock. And we were overwhelmed. We didn't really know what to expect. We came very unprepared.
A crazy car drive.
And the car drive was insane.
So long.
And we were all insane.
It was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We might as well tell that story quickly.
Yeah.
We were in the car, and this is a couple hours. No, a couple. More like 10 hours after we did the initial podcast.
Yeah.
And we're driving through Ohio, and we started listening to, I don't think we have to explain this very much, we started listening to Wilford Brimley doing the Liberty Medical commercials.
I'm scared.
And this is after we had lunch. And we were driving through Ohio, and I turned to Dylan, who keeps replaying the same part over and over again, where he goes, I was losing my ice cream, I was scared, wasn't afraid to die.
I was scared.
If you've seen the video, he's laughing at it again. If you've seen the video, you know what we're fucking talking about. It's the Wilford Brimley sings "Can't Touch Diabetes," or raps. He raps "Can't Touch Diabetes."
Right.
And he wants to treat you to a diabetes.
And I just was dying, and I started to feel sick, and I was like, Dylan, you gotta give me a minute. You gotta give me a minute. You gotta give me a minute. And they kept replaying, and I was like, all right, that's it. I pulled over to the side of the road, got out, put the hazards on, and just barfed my brains out.
I've never been involved in making somebody laugh so hard that they puked. So I was a little proud of myself.
Also a little disgusted.
I was a little proud of myself.
I barfed my whole lunch. It was pretty insane. Andres, did you put your tag back on?
What tag? What tag? No, I didn't. What?
Go grab
no.
What?
Andres is gonna go grab his tag.
Yeah, because we're rocking our G-Fest swag.
Yeah, man, we're gonna show this off in a little bit.
Yeah.
Also, I love this story. We sat down at Bill's house before we drove, and made out a fucking schedule of all the shit that we wanted to see, right? And we wrote this shit out, and it was a lot of trouble. We get here, and they give you a program with all this shit in it. A nice picture of Katsura on the back, which is a nice screenshot.
A nice little Matt Frank image of G-Fantasy, who was the official G-Fest logo, G-Fest mascot.
Who we recently saw in 3 dimensions.
We did. We'll get to that story in a little bit.
A T-shirt of the logo.
Oh yeah, I'm very jealous.
I'm sure they can see it.
Here, let me give it to me. I'll show it off a little more in detail. This is the current G-Fest 2014 Godzilla 60th anniversary stuff. And it's very cool, and I'm sad that I didn't buy one.
And the T-shirts they had like small, medium, large, and then they had like double X, triple X, quadruple X.
Yeah, they're Godzilla fans, so they gotta have the sizes up.
I'm not whether to see that many sizes.
They're not fat Godzilla fans.
I'm not sure whether to be impressed.
Are they doing? I didn't know.
I'm not sure. But to see that many sizes, I'm like, God. I didn't even know that size existed. I was scared. I didn't know what to be.
Andres was confronted with the realistic aspect of diabetes.
I didn't know whether to be impressed, sad, or just scared.
Just scared.
Wasn't afraid to die.
Wasn't afraid to die.
At least you guys bought shirts. I came here with the intention.
I did buy one shirt. I'll show it off in a minute.
I came here with one intention. There was one thing I definitely wanted to buy was a shirt, and I bought no shirts because I got a bunch of prints in the art room, and then we go into dealer's room, and that place just makes my wallet cry.
Oh yeah, the dealer's room is that and Artist Alley is really, and the model, everything was incredible. Yeah. And I want to kind of go through this real time because we're only doing this once.
The only thing I'm not satisfied with is the majority of the money I spent was on one particular item. It's a really nice item.
Yeah. Here's the thing though. I almost hesitate to go into all the stories now because I know we want to do a retrospective podcast later in the week.
I guess this could basically be it in a way because I doubt we'll have time once we get there.
No, I mean after we're all back to our respective.
We can do it on the road.
You want to come? You want to be on DFOS next week?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do that then.
So let's be selective. Let's give
we'll give them the highlights and we'll show off our stuff and we'll tell them the big thing that happened tonight. Tonight was amazing.
The coolest thing about G-Fest is everybody is so fucking chill here.
Everybody is mad chill, and I think that
when you meet some of these people, you're like, "Hi, Matt Frank," and he's like, "Hi, how you doing?" And
how you doing?
Yeah, and Chris Jeff Zornow, Bob Eggleton. Oh my God,
yes. Eggleton is just the nicest motherfucker.
Hold on. Who I bought this from, Eggleton. For those, I'm sure you know the name if you're watching this. But for those of you who might not know, this is beautiful too.
Yeah.
He is very well known for doing a lot of covers for famous monsters of filmland, which I'll get to in a little bit.
You're wearing a shirt.
No, I took it off. This is the legendary Godzilla shirt I've had for a year.
A lot of his work is also featured in the works of Ed Godczewski, which I have some of that.
I have some of that to show off here.
Yeah, I think didn't he get like a lot of mainstream work, mainstream fame from doing the covers for Dark Horse Godzilla comics.
He did those. He also did a lot of cover. He did a couple covers for G-Fan. He just does a lot of his art's very almost photorealistic Godzilla art. That's his work.
To this day, he still does work every.
Oh yeah, he works on the Godzilla books all the time. He did. I don't think I have. It's over there. Andres, could you grab that for me?
It's a very important distinction to make. Matt Frank is my favorite Godzilla artist. Eggleton's the best.
Yeah, I think that just on a level of prime. Here we go. This is Rulers of Earth Volume 1, which I've had for a while. Let's see if we can find this here. This is Zornow and Frank mostly, but in here somewhere,
I love that cover.
Is Bob Eggleton's cover. Maybe I'll zoom in later when I edit this, but
and they had a print of that, and I would have bought it if I wasn't broke.
Well, I would have bought it if I didn't like, because what I said to Bob when I first, because I met him originally when I was looking for, because I went into the dealer's room before you guys did, and we kind of split up in the dealer's room looking for our separate, most wanted things. I was looking for two things mainly, well, three things. I was looking for a cool shirt.
Which okay, I thought you were talking about the two specific.
Well, I'll get to that.
Yeah.
I was looking for a shirt that because I have Godzilla shirts, I'm wearing one now that I've had for a while, but they're not crazy cool. I mean, most of them are from the new movie, and then I have two that I've gotten offline that are, or online rather, that
He's not happy enough with his tattoo.
No, the tattoo is one thing, but it's like the shirts. Well, the thing that struck us the most, and I guess this is the big point, is that where we come from, we're one of the few, if not the only, Godzilla fans in our respective group of friends and in our area, and you think coming here, you're going to be with equals. And you're definitely treated as such, but the thing is, you're not. Because you just get... The herd isn't thin, but it's definitely made clear of... You've got guys in here who... The tattoo was the first thing that struck me, because obviously I have a G-Force tattoo. I've got this, which I've shown off on the channel before. And then I come in here, and the thing that struck me, I looked at a guy on his calf. He had Godzilla fighting Rodan.
Oh, there are guys with sleeves.
Oh,
I'm sure there's plenty of like back tattoos in here that I just didn't see because decency.
When I went to the dealer's room, I was looking for the two big things I was looking for that I didn't end up getting. At least, well, I found them, but they were just way too expensive.
Vinyls are fucking expensive, depending on what you're looking for.
Well,
vinyl toys.
The two I was looking for happened to be the two most rare and most popular Godzilla suits. I was looking for 62.
He's too mainstream for his own good. Okay.
62 and 73.
I saw a Giris and I was like, how much is that? They're like $90. I'm like, too rich for my blood.
That's what 60...
We look for Gomez, also expensive. We look for Jet Jaguar, also expensive.
Jet Jaguar is really expensive.
We see a Mechanicon. I don't realize Mechanicon.
They had a Mechanicon?
That was like the rarest of them all.
Yeah, I didn't realize Mechanicon was so fucking rare. And I'm like, hey, how much does this run for? And that was... How much was that on there?
I don't know, was that in like in the 200s?
No, I think it was one something.
Yeah, maybe like 135, maybe.
It was ridiculous. I was like, I'm putting that back.
They don't even bother putting the price tags on the toys.
Well, themselves. They do for some of them, but it's just like if you go to Comic-Con or you go to any convention, there's a bunch of different companies or groups selling different things. You have Kaiju and Godzilla, you have Mike Johnson, you've got... And
honestly, let's be honest, the quality of the vinyls, I don't think it's worth it. I think if you're going to spend that much, you might as well spring for a Monster Arts.
Well, it depends, because Monster Arts doesn't have everything, so...
I mean, they don't have everything.
But more than that, also, the vinyls tend to be better for display than the... Well, alright, this is a double-edged sword. They're better for display in that they...
Represent a piece of history?
No, they're better for display because they last longer and they don't break as easily. See, I've got one SH Monster Arts figure. I have SH Monster Arts Godzilla 93.
We made him facepalm. It was hilarious.
It was so funny. No, it wasn't. It was really stupid, and you should cry yourself to sleep because you did it.
Andres, it was funny, right?
And I have it up on my desk, and guess what happened this week? The fucking head popped off, and I was...
Really?
I think it was before you guys got there.
Well, you're damn right it was.
And I had a panic attack. I popped it right back in, but it really proved to me that, like, they look great, but they're really meant to be kept in the box. Or if not in the box, you put them in a glass case, you pose them, and that's it.
Put them in one pose, here we go.
Yeah.
It's not like the shit that Andres bought, which
we'll
be showing off later. Andres is probably going to go last because he bought the most shit.
We're going to go in order of the way we're sitting here.
Just gotta say, the three of the stuff I have right now are propping up that camera.
Let's see.
That's right.
We're gonna go handheld when we start pimping shit out because that way we can zoom in on shit.
Are you able to do that?
Yeah.
All he has to do is Bill has to go grab the camera, point it at my shit. I'll point it at his shit. Somebody will point it at your shit. It's shit, man.
Hey.
Right,
man.
Shit.
I mean, I'll have to do more work, but whatever.
Just gonna be okay.
These podcasts have been more difficult to edit than the normal ones because what happens is this camera, it's probably going to happen with this video, it only records 20-minute chunks. So
and the memory card fills up fast.
Well, I mean, it's a little over, no, it's way over 2 hours. It's like it's about 3 hours per memory card. So it's actually pretty good, but what tends to happen is we'll just sit here and talk like we're doing now. Talk and not realize the camera's stopping and recording. And usually it's fine. It's usually like maybe a 1 second delay. But when you're doing podcasts, sometimes it's like it needs a minute to kind of reset the memory card. And it misses like a good 5 seconds. So sometimes it'll sound almost like a jumping conversation. And there's really no way to fix it. The only way you can really fix it is to cut it a little bit, to cut out like the last part of it so it just sounds like one sentence is ending and the next one's beginning. Or, and this is even more impossible or difficult, or just it wouldn't be as natural, just to go in with ADR and trying to remember how to fill in the gap, but that's not really worth it.
That's just too much effort.
But anyway, so we got here, we were very overwhelmed. The first night, I think all we really did was register.
and meet a bunch. Oh wait, no, the first night. That's right.
What did we went? We just walked around.
We got a feel for sort of where shit was.
Yeah.
And then we went looking for a restaurant and didn't find one, and found out there's one downstairs.
It was really good. The Chicago Fire Oven Grill is one of their items is propping up the camera right now too.
Fantastic pizza. He says the cake is good.
The cake is awesome too.
A nice breakfast.
And that is certainly not a lie.
They have a nice breakfast bar set up in the morning where you can get eggs and French toast and shit.
Right.
It was better yesterday than it was today. But
today they almost seemed like they just kind of reheated what they made yesterday.
What kind of saved it for me yesterday was they had amazing bacon, and today they were all out of bacon.
Well, they put it out as soon as we were leaving because,
as a Southern boy, I love me some bacon. Is the thing.
Yeah, I did notice during that night where we were walking around the hotel, I did notice a couple of people. I recognized a couple of well-known G fans. This was Matt Frank, Jeff Zornow.
You walked past Matt Frank, and we knew Matt Frank was here already because we were obviously connected to Facebook on the way over.
Yeah.
And I remember you mentioning that you read a post that he had just flown in.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh, we'll be there in a couple hours, and
I saw him he was walking by me, and then I think he was greeting another guy, artist.
Well, what really this was the thing where I was like, we are G Fest was that after less than a minute of walking into the lobby of the Chicago.
Are you talking about the two guys that were they're walking and they see Zornow?
And they're like, oh, Zornow, it's Zornow, and he says, I'm like, that's fucking Jeff Zornow, and
they're just talking to him
all candidly. And we had just walked in, and here's the other big thing. Yesterday, what did we leave? Thursday's ride was hell, absolute hell.
15 hours
of just absolute shenanigan filled.
It's worth it when you get here, but during the drive, it really sucks.
It really sucks a lot of big dicks.
It really sucks some major ass.
It does. Sign my ass.
We created so many running jokes that Adam and David won't be able to keep up with.
At one point, we come back and I'm just like, hey, Bob Eggleton, can you sign my ass? I didn't buy a print from you.
I thought you did buy a print from Eggleton.
No, I had him sign something that I bought from
from Gojaszewski.
From Eddie G, as I call him.
Eddie G. Bobby E and Eddie G.
I had Bobby E sign Eddie G.
Let me just say this. Almost every single major Godzilla fan, except for a couple that we'll list, because they're just a few exceptions, we met.
Yes,
for instance, we did. Here's why I say we didn't meet. David Callett
wasn't here.
Stoko
was not here.
Oh, I forgot about Stoko. Steve Rifle
wasn't here. They all were. Those guys were not here.
And these people I wanted to meet. I'm not going to list people who are big Godzilla fans that I'm not crazy about.
We had brief interactions with Simon Strange and the guy who runs the con, but nothing.
Yeah, JD. We ran into a couple times, but we really.
I asked him if Ed was in the room once.
That was about it. And
that's really the only time we
briefly spoke with him the first night we got here. He's a really cool guy.
Simon Strange, I was today.
He might not be from Canada actually. He might be from just a northern.
I don't know. He sounds pretty Canadian.
He does sound.
And
very
on the G Fantas suit it says "Property of Canada."
True. I didn't think of that.
You would love Musla, man.
You would love Musla.
With the Simon Strange, it was pretty crazy. I was ready before these two were this morning.
Oh, let's talk about this because this kid pissed me the fuck off.
This motherfucker didn't wake us up.
Here's the thing.
Missed 2 panels.
Hang on. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Every single morning, I've woken up before everybody else.
Right.
Prior to this, and I woke up first the morning we left, first the morning before that, and then first yesterday. And I didn't wake you guys up right away, but I saw you guys wouldn't get up, so I'd wake you up. And yesterday I did it a little more subtly. I just made a loud noise. I made it look like an accident, and I woke both of you up. And
whatever gets me up, man.
And you actually weren't as bad as you played up. But anyway,
I don't know. It's weird. There must be something wrong with my fucking bed at home or something. Because I haven't been
something wrong. Yeah, it's a really comfortable.
This whole bed is for you. For you this weekend.
I'm not talking about this bed. I'm talking about. I don't know why I'm harder to wake up at home, but yeah, this trip has been weird. I've woken up easier than I usually do, and I haven't eaten as much as I usually do.
It's crazy. I mean, I can't believe how early I've been getting up. I
don't know if it's the changing climate, but it's my whole.
I think it's just more the change in atmosphere. We have shit to do and shit we want to do.
Yeah. At home, it's like I don't got shit to do.
I don't want to fucking get up and go to work.
I just sleep forever.
So anyway, we wake up this. I've set my alarm for 7 each morning that we didn't have to drive, and so that way we'd have some. Because most of the panels are either they start at 9 or 11, and the panel this morning started at 9, so we had to get up extra early.
Yeah.
So I set the alarm for 7. I vaguely remember hearing it, but then just but only hearing it enough to like have my eye glaze over and then just glaze back over. So I didn't even like remember. I barely remembered hearing it. But then I remember waking up around, I don't know what time it was, and I just saw a shape, a white shape, moving around over here. And I woke up and I was like, is Andres awake or is he just like having a heart attack? And
no, we're all pretty good sleepers. I don't know if we already told this story, but the first night that we were at Bill's house, his mom said it was just like a chorus of snores in the living room. It's like,
yeah, we've all got bad sleep apnea, or at least supposedly. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, my grandpa had it, and my dad probably has it too. And so Andres fucking wakes up. And he's already. I'm just like, Andres, what time is it? And I'm like, he's like, it's 8:57. I'm gonna go down to the panel if that's okay.
A panel that we wanted to go to that was at 9 this morning. A panel with
Shinpei Nakajima. Hayashida.
Yeah.
Shinpei Hayashida.
The director.
For those of you who don't know, the director of Gamera 4 Truth, which we saw footage from this weekend.
Yes, we did, and we also saw
footage.
Legendary Wolfman footage. Brand new, never been seen before. There are these guys that are putting together
Kaiju Gaiden.
A documentary called Kaiju Gaiden. It's all about obscure kaiju fan films. I think we should make one and lose it on purpose. But it's all about these just obscure...
Yongari versus Bogasari.
Yeah, we'll make it, we'll lose it, they'll think it's old because we'll make it look
throw
old.
It out in the garbage and then just have them find it.
We'll create like a fake like Japanese person and be like, oh, this is the guy that made it. And like we'll like when I interview
That's a big conspiracy.
And we'll answer the phone and we'll be like, yes, I made a Bogasari versus a Yongari.
I thought to myself, I should let them fight.
Let them fight.
Yeah, Kaiju Gaiden, it's going to be an awesome documentary. They showed us some of the stuff that they've been compiling.
It's funny enough.
Great work they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. I love how they're bringing these obscure, independent kaiju films out and trying to get them into the spotlight.
Shit we'd never heard of. There's this frog thing.
Oh, yeah.
There was this...
I can't remember their name.
I don't remember the name, but it was really cool. They showed us the whole thing. It was a
5-minute short film.
It was basically a commercial for these
2 toys.
Yeah, this
kaiju
company
toys
in Japan back in the kaiju boom of the 60s made up these kaiju. One is basically a frog, I forget its name, and the other one
is an alligator.
It's like an alligator with like a spike coming out of his nose.
Right.
And they had these toys back in the 60s, and then in like what they say, like the 80s, they did like reissues, and they filmed this commercial for it, and it's just brutal, like fight.
Very Showa Gamera-esque suits fighting, and also a very Showa Gamera-esque fight where you've got Showa Gamera had a lot of 4-legged monsters.
There's penetration.
Not that kind of penetration.
There's stabbing.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
As if that's something fucking hypocrisy.
Okay, let me rephrase. There's stabbing going on. There's no blood because they ain't got time.
Yes, there is blood.
There was blood.
There was lots of blood.
I didn't see blood.
There's lots of blood.
There are intestine ripping, intestine eating.
Wait, where did we see that? Because that was fucking incredible.
That was at the music panel. This guy who's never watched any like Ultra 7 or anything, he watches the scene from El King. He's like, oh my gosh!
Because the fucker gets his head chopped off, and then it fucking explodes.
I have a lamp over here. It's really annoying.
Yeah, they put like these spotlights on the bed, and it's like
I don't know what they're for. I can only imagine the worst.
It's bizarre. We'll shine it right in your eye. It's weird. I guess it's for like mood lighting if you have a fucking chick or dude up here.
I imagine it gets pretty freaky in here.
But yeah, that 5-minute short.
Yeah. Anyway, so this fucker doesn't wake us up. And I'm like,
sorry guys.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Well, the fact is,
we were really mad at breakfast. We mellowed out after that, but the whole time.
No, we were fine. It was fine after that.
Fucking kid.
There's 2 panels.
This douchebag.
Well, the one I'm more pissed off about is the stop motion.
That was the one because we
met the dude yesterday.
Yeah, the guy was awesome.
He does amazing armatures.
I post. They're not posted at the moment of recording, but By the time this is posted, they'll be out.
He had this fantastic
giant claw. But my purse, but the most badass one.
Everybody, I have his business card because everybody gave us business cards. We need business cards. If you want to check out this guy's
we don't have a fucking business.
But we need one. He's called Amazmo, AMAZMO on YouTube. If you want to check out his work, because
he did a Doctor Who fan film.
Yeah, he told us about that. Daleks.
He made a couple of Astro Boy fan films, and even made his stop motion panel was basically him talking about his experiences with stop motion, him growing up as a Godzilla fan, giant monster fan, and he showed off a couple of his short films. One of them being like Gojira versus Godzilla. Yeah. Where it was a couple of minutes of a stop motion Zilla rampaging through the city with a bunch of like that Puff Daddy Come With Me music video, music in the background, and then eventually you have Godzilla, a 90s Heisei Godzilla shows up, and then they kind of start fighting. And then another one that he showed was his version of the Giant Claw.
That
was the one that we were all...
Such an awesome puppet, you guys.
Special effects for his Giant Claw stop motion short, better than the actual movie itself.
Of course it is. Of course, I could make better.
That was what was really impressive. Was we went in, we didn't act, this was actually by accident. We
weren't intending to go into the modeling.
We went into the modeling room because we really weren't interested in it because that's not really our thing.
Yeah, it should be. Those were awesome.
We're more art guys and more comic guys and more film and more story guys.
Writing guys mostly.
Art guys. Yeah.
So we were more looking for, and more merch guys. So we're looking more into that than more of like the modeling. Animation type thing.
Although I'm sure someone like Chris Elchison would have enjoyed.
Who we met too, and he was very cool.
Some of my favorite models that I've seen pictures of on like the internet were here in person. And I was this far away from them.
Well, here's the thing: we went in there by accident, and there was a panel going on about building them. The guy had a Gorgo one up, which I could have bought, but I didn't because I have a fucking brain. No, it's actually very cool. I'm kidding. He had a Gorgo toy that he was making, and awesome, and the panel was all filled up. So we went into the other room where all the models were displayed, and they weren't even all out yet.
You've already posted these pictures on.
They're all out. If you want to see these, they're on my Facebook. They're on my Facebook.
Did you ever upload the Kong one?
No, the Kong one's not up yet.
Oh, they had this amazing dioramic model.
That was incredible.
Of King Kong black and ripping open the T-Rex, and it's on a thing that the model was rotating.
But the cool thing was it was entirely in black and white.
Yeah, they did the whole thing in shades of gray and black and white.
It's really cool, and it looks very, very almost. It almost looked since you're looking at a black and white thing in obviously a color context. It almost gave a very Tim Burton vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to see Tim Burton's King Kong, and then I realized that's a horrible idea.
No. We've seen Tim Burton's Gamera, sort of.
My favorite models in there.
Frankenweenie.
Gamera.
Yeah,
Frankenweenie.
Gamera has a cameo in Frankenweenie.
Does he really?
I haven't seen Frankenweenie. He's the Universal Monster guy. That's his tribute to the Universal Monster.
I'm not a Tim Burton fan.
I haven't seen Frankenweenie either, but I've heard all about it, and there's a Gamera cameo. Some of my favorite models down there, I don't know who the guy's name is, but you've seen this one on the internet, right? Where Godzilla's like this, and Zilla's like this.
That's the big one.
That guy, and my personal favorite was the one of like Destroya landing in front of like...
Destroya's in this like menacing pose that you can't possibly do with that suit.
You can't pull it off with a suit. And it's so fucking detailed. They had this one that was like 2000 Godzilla standing and like Orga's head on the ground.
Yeah, all burnt up because this is right after Godzilla blew it up.
And he's like face to face with Katagiri.
Yeah,
Katagiri's like very tiny. And another one.
What about the Rhedosaurus?
Yes, the Rhedosaurus.
No, hang on. Let me tell the story because what happened was we looked at the giant claw and we knew the Rhedosaurus was there. But we just thought it was just like a scene for the movie. But then we started looking at it, and one of you guys went, "Hey, that looks like the Daily Planet." And I looked at it, I was like, "That is the Daily Planet."
You see the globe on top of the building.
I noticed at the top of the building, and then the globe, and I'm like,
and then you were like, "I would love to see the Rhedosaurus fight Superman." And I was like, "That's exactly what we're looking at."
Then we noticed that in the model, there's a tiny Superman holding open the beast's mouth.
Oh, it was amazing!
It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Now I didn't see this, but I think one of you guys mentioned they were later putting out Rhedosaurus versus King Kong. What am I?
Oh no!
I think the dude talked about it. I call him Mexican Harryhausen because I don't even know if he's Mexican, but he's Latino and does Harryhausen.
Yeah, he was very. This might sound racist, but it's cool. Andres is here. Kind of reminded me of Cheech Marin.
A little bit. He is a little Cheech Marin, isn't he?
A little bit.
He needs
the kaiju fan Cheech Marin.
He needs a chong so that he can be all like, "Hey, let's smoke some weed," and then the chong will be like, "Yeah,
all right, man. All right.
Yeah. What did I give my dog?
Wouldn't it be awesome if we owned a record shop, man? Leo, we do own a record shop.
Awesome.
Whoa, that's awesome, man. So Model Room was great. The big thing for me was the first panel we went to on Monday. Well, actually, it was an accident.
Monday.
I'm sorry. Friday. We went to orientation, but we went to the wrong room first, and it was Ballroom 2, and they were showing all the Godzilla trailers.
Oh yeah. You shot a little mini thing.
Yeah, it's up on Facebook if you want to see it. It was like 25 seconds.
And it never came to fruition because we had to leave before the trailer we were waiting for.
Yeah. No, we did see Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Oh, well, we were leaving during it. We didn't see the trailer.
And
we didn't see all the goodness.
Wait, this is Ballroom 2?
Because that's when the people came in. It's like, hey, if you're here for the thing, you're in the wrong ballroom.
Yeah. But what was cool about Ballroom 2, and we got to be there today for 2 panels. Well, 2. No, we were in there for 2 panels, but one of them was 2 parts. We were in there for Kawakita.
Yeah, we were in there for almost.
And then for Don Fries, and
which we left early, but.
And what was awesome about it, and why it stuck out to me, was they had every single Godzilla design, including 98.
And they had this big table covered with like these Godzilla models. Even like the Son of Godzilla one had a little, and I've seen this online before.
I've never seen it.
It had a little toy Minya clinging to its tail.
Yeah, that was great.
And they even had the little Godzilla source, which I wasn't a fan because the face was a little derpy on that one.
They had Junior too.
Yeah, there was Junior.
They also had they had the Jack Specific 2014 one.
They had this huge Tokyo towers with like LED lights and shit on it. I said all they really needed to do was put Mothra on it.
They had Jet Jaguar up. They had 54 Godzilla.
Jet Jaguar was there. Yeah,
and it was
they had the Jack Specific Godzilla.
Yeah,
14.
And was the comics panel in there?
No, the comics panel was in Ballroom 1, which was weird because the comics we went to the comics panel today at 11, and at the same time was now I'm gonna look up his name because I don't remember. Katsuhiko Sasaki, who played Ichinose in Terror of Mechagodzilla.
And Goro Ibuki in Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Oh, dudes, we didn't go to her panel, but we were in an elevator with Momoko Ai,
who played Katsura in Terror of Mechagodzilla.
We were so close we could have sweated on her.
And we felt so stupid because we were in the same elevator. We didn't realize it.
We were in the room with Katsura.
And it couldn't be any more obvious. She's standing there with a toy Mechagodzilla in her hand. She looks just like she did in the fucking 70s. She hasn't aged.
She hasn't aged at all.
She's aged wonderfully.
I would hit that.
Gorazard would have lost his shit.
She's wearing this beautiful, like, off-the-shoulder dress.
She was beautiful.
Like, formally dressed. Like, you know, she was ready. She was ready for this event. Like, she was coming in with class and grace.
I don't know how old she is.
Dressed like schmucks.
I don't know how old she was in Terror of Mechagodzilla, but if we assume she was in her 20s, she's in her 60s now, you guys, and she looked fucking amazing.
She looked great. So I just felt like an idiot because I kept looking at you like, is that her? And it couldn't have been more obvious because she had a Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, but it wasn't until we were like halfway down the hall that I realized she was wearing, because even though we didn't go to her panel, we caught the last like 2 seconds. We saw her walking off the stage while we were waiting on another panel to start, and there was this guy in a Titanosaurus costume in there, and it was awesome. But
and somebody screamed, "It's a giant dinosaur!"
Yeah, that was great. It was the guy that did that music panel we went to, by the way.
He was cool.
But we get halfway down the hallway, and I realized that she was wearing the same clothing, and I'm like, that was Momoko Ai.
Yeah,
it's fucking Katsura.
The thing is really hard because
living Mifune.
The hardest part is that, like, you've seen these movies for many years and you see them as like how they did look back then.
Right. Well,
it's really hard to.
It's different with the this is gonna sound kind of racist, but it's different with the Japanese actors than it is with like fucking Don Fry.
Yeah.
Like I look at Don Fry, that's Don Fry.
Yeah.
Right.
The most manliest American man this side of America.
Don Fry is everything you want him to be and more.
Don Fry is America. He's the funniest fucking person you've ever met.
Oh, tell the story.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite things that was said during the panel.
Which we actually didn't plan on staying for Don Fry's panel. We actually wanted to get out of there.
No, but when we realized he was coming on after Kawakita, it was like we have a chance to catch a glimpse of Don Fry.
Well, because here's the thing: Kawakita-san's panel was 2 parts, and it was an hour piece.
Yeah,
and
really great stuff.
It was a little tiring because it was 2 hours of commentary on stuff he had shot, and also it was 2 hours
Q&A stuff
of Q&A, but then also having to listen through.
Even though
his translator translating the questions, and then Kawakita responded.
It was hilarious because the translator had like fucking laryngitis, and so Kawakita would be like, and then this guy would be like, he said that we didn't use any real planes in this scene. Can you all hear me? And I'm like, where's his translator? but after a few minutes, we
grew accustomed to it.
There was this somebody was like, did you like?
This is a pretty prolific translator.
I asked Koichi Kawakita a question, and Andre shook his hand.
This is a pretty prolific translator, I think, because I think I've seen footage from past G-Fest of this guy like translating for Takarada.
Yeah, he did translate for Takarada.
Yeah, it's that guy, the guy with the backwards hat.
Yeah, he had. Hey.
Well, the other guy with the backwards. It would have been great if you could have found a Godzilla hat.
I tried. I went to when I went to the dealer's room. I don't even know if I should talk about this because whatever. I don't want to talk. Listen, this has been the greatest vacation of my life.
Oh God!
And I have had so much fun, and everybody's been great and super nice and super friendly.
So coming back next year.
Oh, yeah. We'll be here next year, and we'll be way more prepared.
We'll be dragging Adam and David's ass here as
well.
Well,
I don't want to make any promises we might not be able to keep, but hopefully we can have the whole crew.
It'd be nice.
Let's check it out. We're a fucking group.
Also,
we're not just 3 schmucks. We're like the Power Rangers.
We're gonna need a bigger bed. There's a fucking shark.
Fucking shark.
The only part of the Kawakita thing that I got sort of tired with, and it's sad because it was, in my opinion, the most visually stunning, was the first one because it was just so much longer than the other stuff that they showed.
Well, yeah, it was gorgeous, but it was very long.
It was a whole like half-hour fan film. Beautiful airplane work.
It was a documentary that he had. It was one of the earliest things he did effects for.
For Toho, right?
I think it.
Well, it's more of a docudrama.
Yeah, it was for Toho. It was Toho Iza back in the 70s.
It's less of a documentary and more of a docudrama, but just fantastic special effects like zero plane work, stuff that makes
very clearly inspired by Subraya's early work.
Honestly, a little bit better than some of the shit you see in in terms of planes.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had obviously more time and everything, but
this guy can do planes.
Yeah, he's operating over close to 200 planes at the same time.
250 planes at the same time. No real planes.
No
whatsoever.
real planes. They made full size replicas.
Also,
JD Lee's is asking this question how do you turn the plane on its back when it's on wires? And apparently what they did is they wrap a wire around the hull of it and then they unravel it and it makes the whole thing go. It's the coolest thing.
Right, yeah, and it all looks very, very realistic.
And the explosions, man. Michael Bay eat your heart out.
Yeah, it's very
explosions. A lot of people die in that movie.
He talked a lot about being inspired by Teruyuki Nakano, and we all know Nakano.
Nakano, that's good stuff. Because he made it in the 70s, right?
76. Yeah, 76 is when he made that. So
Godzilla was on hiatus.
And then we watched.
He had
two short
thing. Yeah, he had 2 short films. Each were made to advertise the toy or franchise.
The first one was like a pitch that his studio had made, and they were trying to find sponsors for it. So I guess they were shipping it around to different studios, it just never panned out. And it was also
I forget what it was called. It was weird. It was almost like it reminded me of Labyrinth meets the Dark Crystal,
or like Legend of the Sacred Stone, which was this puppet. It was like a samurai show where all the characters are portrayed as puppets.
This is like Team America.
Team America, like Thunderbirds,
Team America, or
Thunderbirds, Team America.
It's very anime type of almost Inuyasha looking universe.
Yeah, where it's kind of like it's medieval, not medieval.
With a villain,
a very feudal Japan sort of fantasy.
With one of the coolest villains I've ever seen. They have this motherfucking puppet that's it looks like Mark Hamill's Joker.
Yeah, he's riding a giant monster.
Riding the mechanical spider from Wild Wild West.
Yeah,
with a big skull on the front.
I mean, I turned to Dylan and I was like, I would love to see somebody do like a short Godzilla thing like this where everything's just puppet work.
The only bad thing about it, and that's not to criticize fucking Kawakita, but
mouths.
Their mouths didn't really move, and it was
but also remember he made the point that he also wanted to make it clear that they were supposed to be puppets.
That's true. The wires were visible on purpose. There's a scene where something falls off a shelf and hits somebody on the head,
and you see the little wire
that it's on.
And he said he basically wanted to make the point that he wanted everybody to understand that, like, he almost wanted to make it look like they were watching a real puppet show.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah.
Or enhanced with CGI.
Yeah, and what I asked him, it was the only time I asked, and I felt very intimidated. Not in a bad way, just like, it's fucking Koichi Kawakita.
Yeah, I didn't ask him.
Ever to ask me, the great Kawakita?
I didn't ask any questions at any of the panels. I wanted to ask him a question.
Well, what I asked him was, I was like, because we saw it, and the first thing that struck me about it was, it looked like because the intro was very, very brief, and obviously the translation wasn't exactly what he said. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really know what we were watching, and the first shot is one of the puppets, like the face.
Well, you also didn't see the whole introduction because you went up and went to the bathroom.
I did go to the bathroom,
and you came back. You're like, "What is this?"
Because there was a break in between. It was a 2-part panel. The first one being that long airplane film, and then the second one being these other 2 shorts. And there was a break in between. And Bill got up and went to the bathroom. And when he came back, the introduction was sort of wrapping up.
Yeah, and it looked almost like it was people wearing masks, and that's what I thought it was.
Because the animation on the eyes was so realistic.
It looked like General Grievous. It looked like there were organic eyes behind a synthetic cover. And I asked him, I was like, was there any CG enhancement or...
Because there was CG in this thing. I mean,
there was a lot of
lightning
CG.
And like sword slashes.
But he was very proud of the fact that none of the puppets themselves were enhanced by CGI.
Yeah. He's very much...
traditional, analog.
He teaches, they were talking about how he teaches film in Japan, in Osaka, I think it was.
Yeah, Osaka.
And that everything he teaches is analog, but he tells his students that they need to learn about CG because it's the thing now.
Yeah, it's not going away anytime soon.
But he believes in learning the basics.
But the thing is,
a really good way to look at it.
The point he made was that CG is a great tool if you understand where it comes from. Mm-hmm. In that you can't have good CGI without the basis and practical effects, which I think was very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fascinating panel. I'm really glad we stuck around for that. Very, very sweet, fun guy. Andre shook his hand.
Before we get into that, let's talk about like the last thing he showed off.
Oh yeah, this was
the gunhead thing.
It's a toy commercial basically for this model in Japan that's very popular of a redesign.
Well, not a redesign because I've researched like the robot, the mech a bit. Yeah. Like I haven't seen Gunhead yet, but I just looked at the robot. Yeah. That's exactly how it looked like.
Oh, is it?
Movie.
Okay, I was under the impression that they had played with it a little bit.
Oh no!
No, you said that it's a model of. It was pretty consistent.
Yeah, it's a model of Gunhead, which is this mech that apparently was supposed to be in the Heisei series and wasn't. And
well, the story was that Godzilla '84 was originally supposed to have Godzilla fight this sentient computer, and
it's the world's like most badass tank.
Well, what happened was the plan was to have him fight these 2 mechanical weapons built to kill him. And basically they kind of got amalgamated into the Super X minus the sentient computer, and they made a separate movie out of it. And I remember first seeing the trailer for it when I rented Destroy All Monsters on VHS in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I must see this movie. Still haven't seen it. 2014.
These guys had to educate me. I've heard the name Gunhead before, but I had no fucking idea what it was.
It's basically the only other Toho special effects film they made during the Heisei era that's not Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon nor the Mothra trilogy.
Right.
Yeah, so now we have this kind of like a half commercial, half pseudo-sequel that he made called Gunhead 2025, where...
Right.
It's basically, the whole thing is just, here's a gunhead, like this is the middle of the gunhead war that was kind of like mentioned in the movie. Because the movie itself takes place after the war, I believe, and so this is like during the war.
Well, the whole premise is that it's almost like, here's basically what it is, and this is obviously not saying that this is in continuity with Terminator, but the whole premise is basically what if the war depicted in Terminator had ended, and this was kind of the aftermath of rebuilding, but there were still remnants of this sentient computer system around, and they basically go to this base, and they wake up a remnant of it, and it's this tank called Gunhead, and they have to survive an encounter with it. That's basically what I know about it, and it's kind of very reminiscent of Aliens. And
so were they piloting the Gunhead?
No, the Gunhead was operating on its own accord.
Yeah, it was sentient.
It was a sentient computer system.
Because I think I might be wrong, but I think they were controlling the Gunhead in the actual movie. But I'm not sure what, because
there's
no people in this shorts.
It's slightly different. It's obviously not in continuity. It's just a toy commercial for the model, basically.
Right.
It's very stunning visuals of this model going through these elaborate and very beautiful CG sets. Because it was funny, the first thing they showed us, the plane thing, was done back in the 70s. It was completely analog, completely old school. The second thing they showed us, the puppet thing, it was
and all double miniatures. He said that the only thing that was live action footage was the ground.
Well, there were some aerial shots that they took from a helicopter. Nothing was actually taken from a plane.
Yeah, there was no. He never got up in an airplane, and also he didn't even get in the helicopter.
He didn't get in the helicopter because he's afraid of flights.
Also, all the scenes in the ocean were the actual ocean.
But anyway, that whole thing was done completely. Completely practically. The second thing he showed us, the puppet thing, had a very well balanced mix of practical and CG elements working together. And then this third thing, it's like there's one practical element and the rest is completely CG.
Yeah.
It really shows you the scope of this guy's work. And I mean, obviously, he also did, Rebirth of Mothra. And,
he did the entire Heisei series,
Heisei, all of that. He did all of that stuff. But it just shows you how much different stuff he can do, and he's fantastic at it. I mean,
yeah. And thankfully, after I didn't get a chance to get a picture with Kawakita, nor did I get his autograph. But afterwards, he sat right behind us before the dump. Yeah,
I posted on Facebook. I was like Kawakita and Don Fry in the same room at the same time.
I'm talking about him, and Bill's like, he's sitting right behind you, and I'm like, he doesn't understand what I'm saying.
Because you said something, you made a joke, and I was like, dude, shut the fuck up. He's sitting right behind you. What did you say? You said something.
I don't remember.
You made some fucking stupid Dylan joke, and I was like,
I just do things.
I'm an agent of chaos, and I was just like, shut the fuck up. That's chaos.
He's right behind you. I was like, he doesn't know what I'm saying. The guy with laryngitis is gone.
Well, what happened was, like, I looked at him and was like, you know what? This is my only chance. I turned around and said, excuse me, Mr. Kawakita. I leaned out my hand. I said, yeah, well, he shook my hand. I shook his hand. I said, of course, I can't say anything elaborate for him. But I said, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It was cool. And then
he acknowledged it. It's like, yes.
Because it was this awkward moment where he's walking by us, and then he sort of stops, and I'm like, okay. And then he walks into the row behind us.
Yeah, well, he stopped, and because he clearly knew we were looking at him the whole time, because we were like, oh my god, it's fucking Koichi Kawakita. And I didn't know what to do.
Maybe he wanted to stick around and see Don Fry. I don't know.
Well, he was very, very cool because he had a whole autograph signing coming up, but he actually took the time to sign a few people's things.
Yeah.
And didn't charge for them.
Really nice guy.
I think there might have been like a staff guy come in and it's like, hold on.
We haven't met anybody who's been just an overall dick.
No,
not even close. I mean, what I was trying to get to earlier was there was a raffle.
Oh, well, that doesn't count. I meant meeting, like, people we wanted to meet. Like, we didn't have any of those moments where you meet somebody you want to meet and it's like, fuck you, get away from me.
No.
The only thing that came close, and I don't think he's not a dick. I'm just saying he didn't really, he was fucking busy, is Simon Strange. That guy has always got something going on.
Right.
You say hi to him, he's like, hi, I gotta go, I'm Simon Strange.
Please support Kaiju Combat.
Play Kaiju Combat, I'm Simon Strange, bye.
But we did get to thank him for the Musla thing.
Yeah, and I did, later on, I mentioned I saw him on the elevator this morning, and I said, thank you so much for all your work. They mean a lot to me. I grew up with your work, and I can't wait for Kaiju Combat. I'll be sure to support it. I did ask him, like, how the heck are you supposed to, like, how are you going to introduce all these kaijus into your franchise since you got, like, so many of them? And he said, like, we're going to try to put, like, 20 a year. I was like, wow, good luck with that.
I love the moment where we're very briefly talking to him and Matt Frank, and Matt Frank also a very busy man, walking away.
We got to talk to him a few times though.
Yeah, very busy man, walking away, just goes, I remember Musla.
Because there's this. We will not give this person's name.
We won't go into the gritty details. There was a little bit of an incident earlier in the year regarding Musla being submitted for Colossal Kaiju Combat,
despite the fact that we told this individual, do not do that.
Yeah, we requested that not be done.
And then he attempted to take credit for said work.
That was the thing that more. I mean, we would have been a little more forgiving if it was he had just submitted it and given us credit. But and not only. This was what really broke the straw that broke the
camel's back.
The humpus's back.
Yeah, right. It wasn't the landmine; it was the straw.
It was the straw, and was that he had. So I didn't mean to touch your foot. That was weird.
That was weird. You're weird.
It's so weird.
Fucking homos in there.
Oh, jeez. Whoa,
God.
there.
Let's not get homophobic now.
No homo.
Was that he not only used the art he did for the character, but also art that Dylan did and didn't give Dylan credit. So that was what pissed me off.
And then other people in the thread were like, that's a trace of Matt
They were
Frank.
criticizing it, thinking that it was meant to be original.
And it's not meant to be original. When I do concept art, I trace something that already exists because it lets me get my ideas out faster, and it gives me just a basis because I struggle with anatomy, and that way I have something to like. I mean, I can draw anatomy, but it just takes too fucking long.
Right.
So if I'm doing something like that's just conceptual, I'll just find something that looks vaguely like what I want to do and trace it and alter it the way I need.
Yeah.
And I did that with Matt Frank's.
Neo Gabra.
Neo Gabra. And on DeviantArt, it clearly says, hey, this is what I fucking traced.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And
but
then
obviously there was no link to the DeviantArt DeviantArt account here.
So people on Kaiju Combat, the website, were like, oh, it's a fucking trace, man.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, how dare you.
I found this. I was the one who found it. I was like,
you found out about it.
Like, this is an emergency, guys.
But more than that, you also took the initiative and contacted
Simon Strange.
and was like, hey, this is what's going on. And he responded to you.
Yeah.
So I felt the need to say thank you.
Right.
You know, directly, and we did, and he appreciated that.
Yeah,
and Matt Frank, I remember Musla.
I remember Musla.
That was
like,
funny.
I thought they were like, Musla, get out of my like you guys created Musla, get out.
Fucking you're out of the festival.
Is there any more? Do we want to briefly talk about the Maori thing, or you want to save that for later?
We should talk about the map. Well,
okay.
Well, you know what? We've been doing this. We've probably been doing this for way over a half hour now.
Yeah.
And we do have to go to bed at some point because we have to get up and drive tomorrow. So, what do you say we just jump in and tell stories based on our swag? So,
okay.
Obviously,